You know, the 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 story of Tarzan. There is a French, an American designer called Bart Hogarth. They was used to do design in Tarzan in 1941, 1942, 43. He was studying Michelangelo, the sculptor, the Italian sculptor, so he gave an incredible dynamic to the design of Tarzan. It's a comic strip, almost. And, uh, and I felt that the relationship between the man and this kind of jungle. And I said to myself, the jungle is supposed to be more surrealistic, not a normal jungle. Honestly, I don't know if you can see back there over there. This is one is the painting on the screen. This one is the drawing of Barnogard. Are you bringing a design of Tarzan to Francis Coppola to do Apocalypse Now? Are you crazy? Francis loved it. Says, yes, Vittorio. This is what I mean. We need to do something surrealist, completely symbolic. It's completely surrealistic. And that's why I give it the kind of sequence with the sequence, that kind of a look to that kind of color. Well, when cars arrived there, those some images. I love double impression in photography because like I mentioned to you, I'm not a photographer. I am a cinematographer. The first thing that I said to Mr. Jack, why you call DP masterclass? It's totally a mistake. We are not DP. The most ancient association of cinematography is the American Society of Cinematographers. They started in 1919, and they were called themselves cinematographer, a very correct term. Photographer in cine. So you do cinematography, and whoever expresses himself in cinematography is called cinematographer. If you taking stills, you are expressing yourself in photography, you are a photographer. The Academy of Motion Picture Art and Science in Los Angeles recognized our work in cinematography, not in director photography. Why? Well, as far as I know, around 1949, the American director, put themselves into a kind of guild called Directors Guild of America. At that time, there was a kind of conflict into a set. Who is leading the set? Who is leading the kind of vision of the movie? And the cinematographer, without any doubt, was the one on stage or shooting the movie, was the one that was taking decision where to put the camera, the kind of vision the movie is supposed to have. The director at the time mainly was a theater director, directing the actor. Was the production designer that was design the vision of the different set, making the storyboard and so on. But during the shoot, it was mainly the cinematographer. Like after was the editor. And the producer was the one that was removing all these different characters, different co-authors in different parts. Step by step, the level of the director changed completely till today. So the cinematographer, the Americans said, we also want to be called a director. And they called themselves director of photography, making two major mistakes. Cinema is like when you do a movie, it's like when you play a symphony in an orchestra. There are different solists. I call co-author in cinema, and one director, one conductor. We cannot be two directors on the set. No, it's wrong. It cannot be just somebody directing the actor, somebody directing the vision of this film. So I refuse to call myself director of photography because I have respect for the director. I don't want to be making a kind of confrontation with him. No, I'm a collaborator. Everybody copy in France, in Italy, even in China or in Japan, those terms, but it's totally wrong. Totally wrong. Who is doing cinematography is a cinematographer. Very simple. But in doing photography, somehow I feel that I'm not a photographer. I can't express myself in one single image, even if it's in not in movement. So I need to make a double exposure directly in the camera in order to have a duel, in order to have a dialogue, in order to do those kind of images that tell the story in one single image. Are you able to see from up there? Okay? We see later some more. So somehow, even as a photographer, knowing I'm not a very good photographer, unless they have the need to put two images together, at least two images, to have a relationship between a close-up of somebody and actions happen, or maybe two person, or maybe two action. So even if doing stills when I'm shooting a film, just to have some record of what I'm doing, I try to understand my creativity. I try to understand who I am. More and more and more, I arrived to understand that that was my mainly need, to understand a search for balance between different elements. So step by step, I was creating a kind of visual vocabulary. At the beginning, I started from darkness, going to penumbra, to light, till Apocalypse Now. But without any doubt, this is the image I was showing to you. I realized that particularly in the sequence with Marlon Brando, and when he arrived, very clear he was very uncomfortable, Marlon, to play the part. In Last Tango, he had the entire film to go through his own character. Here, everybody talking about this character, Cars, but we saw just one or two photographs in black and white. We heard a very little piece in the radio. And suddenly we arrive at the end of the journey. Willard, the commitment of Willard was to arrive in and to remove Cars. Cars is a symbol of something that wants to reveal the truth, even in the violent way. And the government doesn't want to reveal the truth. And for Marlon, it was impossible to perform like a normal human being. For 3 days, we stopped filming. Francis and Brando had different meeting, tried to find a way to visualize, let's say, and to put on screen the main concept of the film itself. And there was a moment when there was almost difficult to find the solution. Meanwhile, they were doing this, I prepare the first shot that you will see this afternoon when Willard is brought into the cave. You saw before, when I was showing the clip of Apocalypse Now. They were coming with the Martin Sheen, he sit down, and we see almost nothing, just black, like an arm or something. And suddenly there is this kind of gigantic figure coming up, and you almost think in the darkness, a personality over there. And once I did that kind of test, I called Francis and I say, Francis, remember what we spoke in 6 months ago in Sydney about the symbol of caste? Well, come over here. Let me show you what I prepared. Maybe there is something that is the beginning of the sequence. And maybe we can find a solution over here. He loved what I prepared. He called Marlon. And we had a double of Marlon that we put in the same place. I explained everything to Martin Sheen. At that time, there was no video. Today, is that for you guys don't understand? The cinema was made in such a particular way without some kind of communication with images. Only through the camera you can see the images, through the film camera. So you have to go in the camera and look into. And the camera operator was really the first to see what the director, the cinematographer had in their mind. And the imagination that you can have, you try to put all together, but only we were looking at dailies 2 weeks later, because I was sending the negative to Technicolor Rome. Because I was used to work in Technicolor Rome, I was used to have a timer over there. Not only that, but I was unhappy about the change of Kodak. Kodak changed at the time the films. He made the very high-speed films. High developing system, mainly. And the image were very high contrast compared to the previous film that they had. It was more economical, it was more more clean, the water, everything was technically was much better, visually was not so good. And I found the solution that to achieve the tonality that I need to flash the negative. Now try to imagine 1985, when I start the test, 1986, we start filming. That means that I was shooting, sending the negative from Philippines to Italy. Day before to develop, they were put light on film, all the film, flashing, a kind of different levels. We did test with Mr. Ernesto Novelli, there was the technician over there, and if something were wrong, you destroyed the negative, practically. Can you imagine how careful?
I want to add something to his translation about flashing because I don't think they get it.
Yeah?
大师说的 flashing 就是预曝光，就是他拍完了是 pre flash or post flash。
No, after filming,
Oh,
before
post
developing it.
flash. OK， 所以大师说的就是他拍完之后，他会再曝光，就平均的那个曝光的值给到那个底片上面。
Can you imagine how dangerous it was? It was the only way to me to making the image more with subtlety, with more tonality. Otherwise, I was not feeling that it was good. And so when we arrived at this sequence, and I explained it to Francis. Francis was the only one that knew because he was the director, the producer at the same time. I cannot do something that without him be aware or having his. He said to me, Vittorio, if you are feeling comfortable, I have no problem. It's up to you. The laboratory, I understand you're using, you don't want to use Los Angeles, you want to use Rome, you feel comfortable there. All the technology was Italian. We brought the camera, the crib, the electrical crew, the generator, everything came from Italy for the film of Apocalypse Now. He said, you have white paper. I love your work and I respect your work. So I present to you everything you want in Los Angeles if you want to. If you want to have Italian, no problem. So it was a great risk that was took it. But when we arrived in front to the sequence of Marlowe and we showed those kind of sequence, I knew there was play a very hard, difficult moment. Because we were talking very little tonality in the darkness. But if I have some element quite clear, very small, into the full of darkness, I thought that I was in balance, let's say. So Marlowe watched the sequence and said, well, Vittorio, what's happening if when I stand up, if I don't catch the shadows? I don't want to see myself yet. I said, don't worry. I will be with the black flag right there, and as soon as you go over there, I will mask the fact that you will have only this back of you in light. After, it's up to you to play. I will give you this sharper light, and watch yourself. You can be like that. You should put just your nose, or your face, or your head into the light. So you reveal yourself as a mosaic, piece by piece, till the end, when you really came out, and you show completely your face, and you tell in the final tone. And it was fantastic. Marlowe really played completely by himself all the sequence. It was fantastic.